Hi all. Uh, yeah. So I would like to first know who all knows about container. Means anyone having any idea about container? What it is, what it does? Pretty less. Actually, container is like whenever we think of shipping applications, like most of the time it happens that we develop some application and we run it in our development machine, but when we go for production or some other stages, it happens that the application doesn't work as expected, or we think we developers think that I did everything right, but then why it is not working properly. So to solve this, container came as a packer, or you can say we pack the application along with its runtime or its environment variables, which is configurable, it can be changed. So container is a transform media or transport media where you can pack your application along with the runtime and you can deploy it anywhere, like make your application portable, that's all. So suppose I'm running my application in dev machine with certain set of variables, and I am deploying the same application with exactly same variables, then it will be working exactly same as expected, because there will not be any change in environment variable, there will not be any change in source code also. So that's container. So today I'll be talking about one container pipeline which we have developed mainly based on CentOS infrastructures, which is like CentOS community container pipeline, we call it as. So I would say, what is this container pipeline? Actually, I'm sorry. So actually this whole container pipeline service, the purpose of this is to build containers from your application. So we have our applications mostly hosted in GitHub or somewhere in the Git repositories, to make all those repositories to a portable container. So this service is totally hosted on CentOS infrastructure, and it actually to put your application into this infrastructure, there is like near zero barrier entry, because you just have to raise one peer with one YML request, that's all. So and what we have done is every image whatever pushed through this pipeline, it is automatically life cycled or scanned, validated in a certain amount of time, like in every week or in any update of the dependencies, it will automatically be updated and it will be notified to the user. So actually what we are trying to do is we are copying the Docker Hub. You may be knowing about it. So Docker Hub is a place where all the in current scenario all the container images stays, or a library from where I can download the container images. So the problem with Docker Hub is that it is not scanned regularly, or if there is an update in the dependencies, suppose in any RPM of the container of which it is built, then it doesn't get updated properly. And there, like if there is any security update, or if there is any change in the source code but not in the RPM, then also it doesn't get updated. Means it's not based on the source code, mostly based on the RPMs. So to solve this, what we did is, like one more thing we noticed, that most of the stable applications which is deployed in the production uses CentOS base image. But the problem is, whenever a developer thinks of any application, he goes for Alpine or Ubuntu or something else, because even though it is the most used image in application when it is running in production, but we don't use it in development, so the gap is still there. So to solve this, what we have done is we have prepared all these images based on CentOS only. So any image comes from centos.registry.org, registry.centos.org, it will be CentOS based, and we also are planning for certifying all those images to work in certain environments. And so now the point is, and a developer, if once he enters his detail to index, and he has to just code, nothing else. Everything else, like after coding, what will be packaged, where it means, how it would be packaged, how it would be scanned, all those things will be taken care of by this pipeline. And after all these things, it would be the image will be published to registry.centos.org, from where anyone can pull your image. So what is the criteria for putting your project into this is your project has to be open sourced, because everything we do is public. So we cannot guarantee, we are not guaranteeing that your code or your image will not be pulled by anyone. Once it is pushed to registry.centos.org, it is totally public, anyone can use it. So actually this is our plan, what we are planning to do. So all the, now if you have heard about, like now we use RPMs, but those days, like we are moving from RPM to container things. We directly handle with binaries now. We don't build the RPMs because it is over a deck. We can directly, if we can directly push our binaries along with its environment, then we will directly use the container. So to get all those containers, or if we pull some RPMs from somewhere, it pulls all the dependencies, right? So for those dependencies also we need to build the containers. So our plan is to make most of the upstream, famous upstream projects in our registry along with its dependencies on which this application runs. And if there is stacks like WordPress or OpenShift, all whole stack will be pushed to our registry.centos.org. So anyone pushes any images from registry.centos.org, he should not be going to Docker Hub to get unauthorized or not updated images as a dependency. So we are planning for the whole stack. So as a output of this pipeline, we are planning for these certifications or validations, like we are doing, we are making sure that, or we are checking that whether the service which is expected to run in the container is actually running or not. Once we build the container, which run all these checks, like checking the application is running or not, or how do we check is like if there is any HTTP application is running there, so we check whether the expected port like 8080 or anything which is mentioned in the application is actually accessible from the machine or not. And then whether the container was built or the Docker file was written based on the container best practices or not. As of now, we throw out warnings whether the container is actually following the best practices or not, but our plan is to restrict the user from going out of this container best practices. So it would be so that the image can be licensed or certified that it is actually properly following all the rules one container should be using. Yeah, so actually we are using like if you go to RPM database which is using CVE, so we are kind of importing all those checks which is maintained by Red Hat like those things which are imported by Red Hat or which are being followed by Red Hat, we are mostly using them only. We are not, currently we are not going beyond them, but we are planning to add few more.
So are we also talking about like the security vulnerabilities which
Yes.
are exposed from time to time in OpenSSL?
Yes.
So I mean every image will be updated accordingly?
Yeah, actually our plan is like that only, means if there is any change in the security or any change on the dependency of any image, it would be automatically updated, but it would not be pushed to registry. It would be notified to user that your image has been updated with this security check has been validated or fixed. Do you want to push it to registry or not? If yes, then it would be pushed to registry and replacing the current image. Yeah. Currently our plan is CentOS 7 only, but maybe we will be going for CentOS 6. So as I said that all these containers which are built using this pipeline are validated against these hosts, whether it is properly running in CentOS Linux or not, whether it is running in CentOS atomic host or not, which is currently totally based on containers, whether it is running on Red Hat Enterprise Limited or not, and we are also planning for OpenShift Origin or maybe we will be for going for OpenShift Online also, whether the image built in the pipeline is actually working or not. So how we do this? Actually, one user goes and puts the data like all the project details into GitHub or our repository. Then one linter works which checks whether he has got proper Docker file or not. Currently we are calling it as Docker file, but we are planning to call it something like target file or what, because we can build any file named with anything. It's not restricted to Docker file. So then it is checking whether it is following the container best practices with with linter, and then it builds the image. It runs, if there is any script to run while building only, it runs that script. Then we test the image. In this test, I mean running the unit tests of the application. So for running unit test of any application, user has to mention one script or any entry point for that. If he mentions that this script will call my or trigger my unit test, then we can run it. Then we scan the image. Once it is built, then we scan it using, currently we are using atomic scan for this, and then we deliver it to registry. So once it is delivered to registry, the user gets notified with the image name along with this tag, that this is the image you will be able to pull from registry.centos.org. It's okay till now? So actually this is overview how our total system is. So this is kind of, I tried to make one deeper view, if it is visible or not, I don't know. Visible? So what I tried to do is, so this is entry point, user puts the data in GitHub repo. This is our index repo which maintains the list of all the projects there in the registry pipeline, and it continuously polls it. Like if there is any update in the index of this pipeline, it will automatically build it or rebuild it. Then once it is once the project is entered to index repo, then we push it to our Jenkins slabs, or multiple scalable slabs are there. So it also continuously polls the actual source repo. Like once I have entered the data, like I have got one project and I have entered it to index.yml, and then after a few days I am updating my repository. So I will not be requiring to go to index again and update it. Once I push up my update to my source repository, it will automatically track it and rebuild the image. And so actually we have got these 3 phases, which is build, application testing, which is unit testing, then delivery, and this phase is scan. So all these phases are scalable and they are independent of each other. So we can, like currently we build all the images in sequence. So if suppose we have got 1000 images, then we can build them simultaneously also. This is the plan, that is the plan actually. We have got infrastructure for that, but currently we are building in a sequence. So all these images or all the build processors are maintained by one tube, which is beanstalk-D tube, and it checks all the data and where all the image details, then builds it and scans it. So that was like the architecture what we are following now. This is not full. I could not draw it in diagram. So actually yesterday only I was trying to put this in diagram. So I could not draw it fully. So now we'll see what actually it looks like. Is it visible? So this is our index repo, which I called as collection on the of the entries. This CentOS / container index in GitHub, and we put all the data in this YML format. I'll open one. So we keep like we need 3-4 things. One is your Git URL of the application where you are pushing your source code. It can be anywhere. It is publicly available. It is not restricted to GitHub. Currently we support only Git, but our plan is for Mercury and all those things. And this the branch you want to build, it can be any branch you specify to, and the okay. So here I mentioned target file as dockerfile.centos7. So whenever we are trying to build any Docker file, currently we are used to with Docker because it is most famous now. So we can put any file name here, but then we have to provide the path where this file resides in your source code. Like for this, I have got my source code, then app directory, and then I have kept this Docker file. I will show that exact running demo also, and the tag latest. So our by default is latest. We say that whenever we build one image or we try to pull one image from somewhere, it pulls with latest tag, but it can be anything. Like suppose I have got my application with version 1 out now, so I can tag it to version 1, then I can tag it to version 2 along with latest. If we want to tag one application with version 2 and latest, then also it is possible. We just put 2 tags there. Then the notify email, the email which has to be notified once this image is built successfully. So I'll try to add one image application and so what. This is visible, I guess so. So generally we prefer that whatever YML we are adding, we name it with our project. So for demoing, I am named this as Bamacharan.yml. So generally we use like CentOS.yml or Eclipse.yml, all those based on the projects, because our main aim to containerize the projects, not one's personal applications. It can be containerized, there is no issue with the public, private or personal repos also, but our plan is to go for the projects, because we can go for the dependencies also and update the security updates and notify all the users also. So I am adding one entry here. So so we need to pull raise one peer. So I have raised one peer with this, so it automatically triggers one CI which checks whether the entry we have put is proper or not. If there is any issue with the entry, it notifies the user with that. And to get to this repository, we have kept few restrictions, like anyone, like if I want to build some random project, just I can enter the details into index.yml and it would be get triggered. So to restrict that, my means if I am a mentor or part of the project, I can build it. So we have kept one file cccp.yml. If you see, this file cccp.yml, it has to be kept on the parallel with Docker file or the target file we want to build. So it makes sure that you have got access to build that project or not. If you are having access to source code, then only you can build it. If it is not there in the source code, even though the PR is merged, it will not build it, because it has got means it is the cccp.yml is not there. See the PR, sorry. So while it builds, I'll just show one use case we have used till now. So you know what about Eclipse which is online ID, like all our Red Hat is trying to adopt to. So we have built the Python stacks for using in Eclipse. So I'll just show that by running it till it builds. So I have just run Eclipse J server, which I can open here. This is online ID, which is planning to be hosted somewhere in Red Hat developers network. And so for now we have got, I don't know whether it is visible or not. It is visible? Huh? Now? So from CentOS's side, we have built 3 stacks now. For now, we are pulling most of the stacks. Now Go, Python, and Python 3.5. So I'll try to run one. If you notice here, it is actually pulling images from registry.centos.org. It is not visible, maybe. So I'll just run it. So this Eclipse J is totally based on containers. It runs everything in container based, and all the dependencies it pulls from containers only. It doesn't pull any dependency as RPM. So to support this or to enhance this capability, we are pushing all the dependencies to registry.centos.org. I guess that is built till now. Yeah, see, all the entries here are getting checked whether they are valid or not. If it is valid, then we can build it. So I'll just merge this pull request. So once it is merged, it will automatically trigger the container pipeline and it will build it. So I'll just check. So that is triggered. It will take some time, like 2-3 minutes to build the image. Till then, this is like we are reachable with this. We are there in CentOS-devel in freenode.net and this CentOS-devel CentOS.org, and this is our this container index is our repository where you can put your projects into. And this registry.centos.org is one registry which all these images get pushed to, and whatever is all the images are there, we generally update it in container pipeline, this wiki page. So our future plan is to provide one GUI for all the images there in registry already. So all these origin images, and if you are interested, you can go and check this all the images. And we are planning for one GUI, like based on maybe atomic registry or something. So if you have any question, so till I get the email, that image is built. So I think I didn't make any sense to anyone, right? So once this is successfully built, we get one mail like this. So actually it is currently building, so I am showing the old email which. So it gets one email there which says your build of this image is successful and you can pull it directly. If you don't have any questions, that's all. Thank you. So I'll disconnect.
You. No questions.